Just a little bit of an update, a little bit of a chat. I am very tired. It is almost 2:30. Now, what I wanted to do is spend some time talking to the guys tonight, but looking outside, it is still atrocious. As you know, we have been suffering with this torrent of bad weather for several weeks, and it is causing total havoc with communications between me and the guys. That said, I can see stars. That's a good thing. So I thought, hell, the guys are waiting, I'm waiting. I thought I'd give it a try anyway. Normally I actually wouldn't. A recent article caught my attention this week from Professor Brian Cox, who proclaims that, as factual, spirits cannot exist because there's no room for them, according to CERN. Now, you know what? I'm not disrespecting the guy. It's his opinion at the end of the day. The problem I've got with that is, time and time again, these types of people offer an opinion, but put it out as though it's fact. It's not fact. It's not fact. We know it's not fact, and it shouldn't be represented or acknowledged as fact because it clearly isn't. Right, the Phenomenal project is several months behind, but everything is still kind of on track. It's been slightly interrupted by the Keith Linda case, which is still obviously ongoing, and I'm in the process of completing the documentary I started on the Linda case some time ago. At the moment I've got probably about 8 edits in progress, which I'm not working on all at the same time, but there's a lot of work for me to get through, including the investigation we did a few months ago at the Bodmin jail. That's very interesting as well. I think you'll enjoy that. In the meantime, we're here to see if we can speak to the guys. Now, I'm not expecting any miracles, and this may go totally tits up, but we have to try. I am, when the conditions improve slightly, I'm going to see if I can encourage or ask Becky to see, if possible, if we could get any poltergeist activity going on here. Thank you. Now I know there's loads of stuff on YouTube, poltergeist this, poltergeist that, and all this crap bullshit fake stuff that's out there. If anything does occur, it will be genuine. Chances are it probably won't, but I would like to actually be able to make contact and speak to the to an entity with such capabilities. We'll see how that one goes. I'm going to set everything up, and I've got a few ideas in mind, so like I said, we'll see how it goes. I have answers to questions, the answers that you would like to some of the questions that you've put to me in the past. Now, rather than me sit there and say, the guy said this, the guy said that, I think it would be fantastic if you can actually hear them answer, because obviously, although my followers trust me, and they should do, it's of more value if it's not coming from my mouth and it's coming from them. Last Friday, went to Stafford FM to do conduct an investigation into strange goings on.
Good evening, my name's Gunnar. I'm presenter of The Asylum on Stafford FM 107.3. Tonight we've invited Don and Steve, the Phenomenal Project, down here to Stafford FM as we've been receiving reports and I guess phone calls for the last 2.5 years about ghostly goings on. There are many people who believe there's something taking place in this building. There are many people who believe it's just figment of your imagination. Tonight, we bring 2 of the country's leading paranormal investigators to find out exactly what's taking place inside this building. And I'm not going to lie, from early reports, it looks good already.
Okay, I've got to say, to be honest, it was tough going. It was throwing down the rain. It was very, very cloudy and horrible, and under normal circumstances, I would have not even entertained the idea of investigating in such conditions. What I will say, the information which I was able to uncover proved quite fruitful. I'm going to still checking some of the information, but thus far much of it is proved correct. Even information that he's aware of, which is not in the public domain. And that is what we like, guys. That is what we like. It was a very intriguing investigation. It's great to see Gunnar and meet the guys down there. One of the things, I was on a radio show there just, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And Gunnar was talking about EVPs, which is actual voice phenomena. Somebody called in or emailed in and says, no, you got that wrong, it's EVP. No, it's not EVP, it's AVP. Let me just explain something to you. What is EVP? What is the definition on EVP? Electronic voice phenomena. I don't think anyone's going to argue with that. Emphasis on electronic voice. The rest of the definition goes something like, it is a sound made up of ambient sounds which can be interpreted and resemble speech and that are non-intelligent. Audio pareidolia. People hear things that are not actually there, made up from these ambient sounds. Okay. That is the definition of an EVP. So every time somebody, a paranormal investigator, says, I'm talking to a spirit, listen to my EVP. Does that make sense? Listen to my non-vocal communication, which is not intelligent and is just an ambient sound which resembles speech. Does that make sense to you? No, it doesn't to me either. And you know what? The skeptics are absolutely right. Every time they say that, oh, EVP is rubbish, it is, as it's defined by its own definition, it's correct. You can't argue with them. Problem being is there was never another definition for anything that falls outside that criteria. And let's face it, when you've got something that falls outside that criteria, like I produce, which goes something like this.
Don's up here on the hill, just overlooking Tutbury Castle. And what's interesting, he's been drawn up to this location and he's been getting recordings whilst he's up here in just this area up on top of the hill, where he's been told by all intents and purposes on these recordings that there are several graves situated underneath the car park. These are the sorts of things that he seems to be recording. We're going to put them through the amp and listen to them and see if they are how clear they are. But from here, I mean, Don is 20 feet away and we can hear them from here when he's playing them back. It's absolutely fascinating. So we're going to head back down and put them into the amp and see what they truly sound like.
Would you say that that is non-intelligent? Would you say that is an ambient sound that resembles speech? No, nor would I. Now the interesting thing is, the skeptics and cynics out there don't highlight recordings like that. They will always use the worst examples what they can find on the internet to showcase their perspective on things and use it as an argument against. So, you know, no doubt there is lots and lots of EVPs that go on in paranormal investigation and a lot of misinterpretation by investigators, and especially when they put them through sound filters to make them sound, well, clean them up, but generally they don't clean them up, they make them a lot worse. My argument is this: if you have a spirit personality there and they want to communicate, okay, the conditions have something to do with it, but you don't need digital recorders with the audio gain control on. I mean, problem with that being, it desperately tries to hear something that's either not there or something very far away. It's amplified, that's misinterpreted as speech. And not just that, I've seen people, you know, just saw their clothes, oh, did you hear that? People with ghost boxes, oh, look, they're playing with some music. Okay, whatever, not going to go there, each to their own. But I will stick with my basic effective methods. Now, on the other hand, actual voice phenomena is a definition I came up for many of my recordings, probably somewhere in the region of about 4 or 5 years ago. It's also a definition that many groups are now adopting, and rightly so. Problem being there, I have noticed that there is quite a lot that are actually capturing EVPs and saying, listen to my AVP. Not going to happen. an EVP is not an AVP. If it's going to be an AVP, it needs to be captured and played back instantly on the spot. It does not need to be put through sound filters to be cleaned up. It's got to be in direct answer to a question, and it's got to be more than a or one word. And actually, while we're at it, let's add another rule to that, shall we? It has to be independently witnessed. My recordings are, many times I've been out with lots of people, and people are very qualified to make the determination what it is that they're actually listening to. The recorders are checked, that they've been formatted, there's no trickery. We passed that a long time ago. So there is a distinct difference between the EVP and actual voice phenomena. I will make at some point a detailed video about that, and what we'll do is we'll talk about it, and we'll go into different frequency ranges. You see, something else I've actually noticed, when people that denounce AVPs, or shall we say recordings, they always refer back to, oh well, we've done tests, we've proved this, we've proved that. Well, no, you actually haven't. You simply cannot take the results of a test that was probably conducted 20, 30, 40 years ago and apply that logic to a totally different test with a different subject using different recording equipment. Things change over the years. The recorders now have got very good shielding. You're not going to be picking up radio signals and walkie-talkies and everything through them. Something I've never experienced using a high quality recorder. And you can't use that argument. You just simply can't. If you change the test subject and the equipment, it's a whole new experiment, a whole new test, and a whole new results. And then results should be looked at independently of what's gone before. You know, if you're doing 20 experiments and 19 of them will have got the same results using the same equipment, and then you do one experiment using different equipment with a different test subject, it's a different test with different results, which should be looked at open-mindedly and differently. So, got that off of my chest. Does that make sense to you? It does to me too. You know what? It was some time ago that I was in the kitchen. Well, it was probably about 3 years ago actually. I was in the kitchen of the old house, talking to some spirits. I heard what I thought at the time was just people out the back shouting, making a noise, in my garden or roundabouts. At the time I kind of acknowledged it but didn't pay any attention to it. I thought, who the hell's that making this racket at like 3:30 in the morning? At the same time, I took a recording. The recording was of spirits. They said, I think it was something along the lines of, we want you to live with us, or we want you to be with us. Incredibly, for the first time, I'd actually captured, and it's the first time I've ever heard this anywhere else, a perfect example of how spirits sound on a digital recorder, which differs greatly from what they sound in the atmosphere. Now, the reason I say that is because at that time, it was also captured on the video camera. A video camera does not record static, it records, well, much cleaner sound input. So we had a direct comparable between that same sentence on the recorder and on the video camera. Just take a listen at this. I think that's quite a big deal, don't you? For the first time ever, we have them on this and we have them on one of those, and we can make a direct comparison between how they're interpreted to sound on these and how they really sound on a proper microphone in the atmosphere. I actually think that's a big deal, and I was really impressed with that. I get things like that all the time. Now, speaking of which, I'm trying to bluff my way through this tonight because the atmosphere is crap, otherwise there wouldn't be a great deal happening, so bear with me. We've got a couple of good recordings. Nothing to write home about, nothing to shout about, but we've got something when there should be nothing, as I've said before. People ask, one of the questions that people always ask, is there a God? That's a bigger question than what you might actually imagine. And I'll probably tell you why in a different video, but just to touch on it. The word God in itself never originally meant one powerful anything. The word God in its original context, gold and GD, before the original translations, it was meant collectively as things, beings to worship with power, powerful beings or objects to be worshipped. It was only the birth of Christianity when all of a sudden God was rolled into one particular being. That's a story for another day. Question for our viewers. What was in existence first? Humans or spirits? Thank you. As she said, it is spirits, but the it is so quiet you probably can't even hear it. That definitely sounds like spirits. Let's just make a point. Now we've been getting some loud noises and sounds and voices on this. I'm going to press record now, guys, 10 seconds. Can you not say anything whatsoever? All I want is total silence. This is going to be a little bit controversial, and I'm not going into detail now, but spirit form is our natural form. We have it the wrong way around. We don't. This is not our natural form, and then we die and we go into spirits and all this shenanigans. The natural form, our consciousness, and as our natural form, is spirit. Spirit is our natural, even first, existence. Now that raises some of the questions. That being the case, why are we in organic bodies? When does this take place? How do we inhabit these bodies? Where does the consciousness come from? When does a person develop a consciousness, a soul? The moment of creation, sometime during the period of pregnancy. These are interesting questions, and I have got some information on that which I'm still digging around at the moment, because as I said, I'd like them to answer those questions. Do you know what, guys, I'm going to give it 5 minutes to call it a night because the conditions are atrocious. We need clear replies. That first one, fantastic. All the others, the spirit ones are pretty good, but struggling with the others, and we don't want to be struggling. We don't want an hour video of just hearing sounds that we're trying to interpret as speech or trying to make out what is being said, if it is speech. So I'm going to give it another 5 or 10 minutes, and if not, I'm going to go to bed, because we've now been on this for probably about 15 minutes. People will say, well, that's a little bit impatient, Don. It is, but then I expect a certain standard, and we're not achieving that standard because of the conditions, how they are at the moment, so therefore I'd rather not waste my time or their time or your time, so this may be an extremely short video. So tonight has not been ideal, but anything's better than nothing, I guess, sometimes when it's conditions like this. I mean, we've had a couple of what I'd say were decent replies. We've seen a couple of decent clips. I'll be putting together a decent video very, very soon. Right now, I'm going to thank you all for your support. Those that have supported me, Becky, the rest of the guys, and Phenomenal Project, and the work me and Steve Merritt are actually doing. I will see you again very, very soon. I'll get some edits done and uploaded as soon as possible. In the meantime, I want to say thank you. Please subscribe and good night. I'll see you soon, guys.